What's up, everybody? It has been a while. I hope you all are doing well. I hope this year, 2021, is better than last year. We finally have some new Marvel stuff to talk about. WandaVision premiered this weekend with the first two episodes. I'm going to talk about them with full spoilers. If you haven't watched these two episodes, go to Disney Plus and watch them and then come back here. All right, so let's get into it. Generally speaking, these first two episodes played pretty much like normal sitcoms, but you can tell there's something deeper going on. It's not a lot of crazy stuff with the story necessarily. It's more so it's a lot of visual things going on, little Easter eggs, little hints that something is off. But they're also having a lot of fun with this style of filmmaking where they're kind of mimicking these older styles of television. So the first episode is kind of like the 50s, I Love Lucy era, and then the second episode was around the 60s. And so they kind of did a good job nailing those styles respectively. But overall, you can tell there's something almost sinister happening under the surface, but you don't really know what it is just yet. Vision has this weird job with computing, and Wanda is a housewife. There's a date on their calendar with a heart on it, and they both don't know what it's supposed to be. And in true sitcom fashion, they both go in a complete opposite direction. While Wanda thinks that this heart is supposed to be for some kind of anniversary that they're supposed to be celebrating, Vision finds out from his boss that they're supposed to actually be having a dinner with the boss and his wife, and they are the hearts. So the heart's supposed to represent them. And then this miscommunication just leads to some insanity towards the end. So one thing about this story is that, again, it seems like a very normal sitcom story, but also you can see there's little hints of stuff being off. For example, Vision can't really describe what his job is when he's there. It's just computing, but they don't know for what. They don't know what their product is. They don't know what service they're selling. It's just this very generic, weird sounding thing that makes no sense. And so it's kind of tipping you off that, okay, something's going on here. And besides Vision not being able to describe his job, there's also something between Wanda and Vision where they can't really explain when they got married, where they came from. All these questions are just kind of blank in their heads. And so when someone asks them something like this, like, oh, when did you get married? Where are you from? Why don't you have kids? And they just can't answer these questions because they don't know. Again, leading you to think that there's something going on here that's not in their control. And I'm thinking now, after watching these first two episodes, that at least in the beginning, people were theorizing that Wanda has some kind of psychotic break and causes this whole reality shift thing. But now I'm starting to think, based on these first two episodes, that someone's actually doing this to her, that somebody's manipulating her or using her powers for something. So that's going to be interesting. Another interesting moment in the first episode was when the boss was choking and everybody was kind of just sitting there watching it happen. And then the wife would just come going, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop. And it's like, what is going on? And everybody was just sitting there for like a good minute or two. And then Wanda's finally like, Vision, help him. And then he uses his phasing powers and takes the food out of his throat. But there's a lot of weird moments like that. And one character that is kind of suspicious is Agnes. And there are theories about who she could be for real. Like, there are theories that she's this comic book character. I'm not going to say who it is, just in case you don't want spoilers. But I do feel like there's something suspicious going on with her character. I don't know what it is just yet, but something is off about her. And one thing I noticed in both this episode and the next episode I'm going to talk about is that there's this repetition of this hexagon shape throughout the show. So you have it in some of the motion graphics, like the opening sequence. You have it at the end where it says the end and then wraps around Vision and Wanda's head. There's something going on with that shape. I don't know if it's the symbol of some organization or there's something else going on. And something I also saw in both this episode and then the next episode is that there's these fake commercial, infomercial things of some product. But what's interesting is who the products are made by, like the companies behind them. The first one is Stark Industries, which is interesting because, Tony Stark is gone, but why is Stark Industries involved in this? What is the connection there? I feel like there's some hidden message in these commercials that we haven't really figured out yet, but I am interested to see what goes on there. Now we go to episode 2, where Wanda and Vision hear a mysterious noise in the neighborhood and go to investigate, but nothing's there. Vision decides he wants to go to the neighborhood watch and try to report it and see what they're doing so he can help. And Wanda is helping prepare the community talent show. And these are also very sitcom-like scenarios. Vision tries to act like he's not a robot and then chews gum, and then the gum literally gums up his works, which causes him to act really weird. Wanda is trying to get on the good side of these community leaders, and again, that scene is very, very sketchy, but also this is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau undercover as Geraldine, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if Wanda figures it out. But you also hear something interesting in this episode. There's like a radio broadcast. It sounds like Randall Park's voice saying, Wanda, are you okay? Who's doing this to you? And that's what makes me think, okay, something else is going on here this is somebody doing something to Wanda, not necessarily her having some kind of psychotic break. But there's then the talent show where, because Vision is kind of almost like he's drunk, right? And his works are gummed up, he starts acting weird. And during his magic show that he's doing, that's his talent, he starts using his real powers, and Wanda has to try to cover it up, making it look like it's fake. That was a really fun scene. But also some things I noticed on the box that he uses for the disappearing trick, you can see the symbol of the Mind Stone on it, which is interesting. And there's another one of those interesting commercials. The second one is Strucker, like Von Strucker, the Hydra scientist. And you can see on the product itself, there's a little Hydra symbol. So again, I'm not sure where these are all leading. I don't know if these are just fun Easter eggs or if they have some deeper connection to what's actually going on. Episode 2 is also where I think we see how Wanda is starting to notice something's off. First, you see the random beekeeper guy coming out of the sewer. And then there's a part where Wanda just says no, and everything rewinds and it goes back to the beginning of the scene, which is interesting. So she does have some control over whatever's happening here. And then thirdly, Wanda sees a plane that's in color sitting outside her house, but she doesn't know where it came from, and obviously it doesn't fit into this black and white world. But at the end of this episode, you see everything start to turn to color, and they move into the next era, which I believe is going to be the 70s. So that's going to be interesting. But again, I definitely think something's going on here. Randall Park, his organization is somehow trying to stop or save Wanda from whatever's happening. And you can see they're trying to attempt to get some kind of signal to her, but she still hasn't fully registered that what she's doing or what she's involved in is not real. But it's definitely interesting. Overall, I feel like these episodes weren't as wacky as the trailers have showed so far. I feel like this is just scratching the surface, but there's definitely some interesting things happening here. There are little hints that something could be off, but we don't know what just yet. But it is fun to see these characters, Wanda and Vision, and these different scenarios of like sitcoms and stuff. It's a fun homage to these eras of television. From a creative standpoint, I think it's really well done. They probably could use some more technical things to really sell the effect, but in terms of the black and white, the motion graphics, everything else does feel like it came from the 50s and the 60s. So I am interested to see them try other eras of television, and I am very interested to see how the story all ties together and what is actually going on, what's happening to Wanda, and if this means that there's going to be mutants at the end of this. Is Vision going to come back to life officially? We don't know. We're going to have to just go along for the ride, but I definitely think Marvel is up to something really big here, and I'm excited to see what it is. So, what did you think of the first 2 episodes of WandaVision? Let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.